All right, we'll be back from the break. Now we look into the organic world and understand more of the business that is coming in from there. And it is time for our topic of discussion to understand more about the scope of our businesses moving in there. And now we're going to look at the biochemical fertilizers in the context of business. Is there opportunities for people to venture in there, or on the other side of the coin, how profitable is it if at all someone is venturing in here? I do have Matthias Nsubuga, who is a field consultant in the organics, who is going to be taking us through this discussion. Many thanks for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
Yes, good morning, sir, and hello to our viewers, please.
Our viewers, a good morning to you.
Okay.
You are most welcome. And thanks for the program.
All right.
Yes.
Many thanks for making your time for us. Now, trying to understand biochemicals. I would want you to at least break this down for the viewers. What are the biochemical fertilizers, if we are to understand it more in a layman language?
Mainly, when we talk about biochemical fertilizers, in simple terms for the viewers, it means the food for both the plant and for the crop, and for the soil. That's when we term the word biochemical fertilizers. Okay. So we are intending to feed the crop and we are feeding the soil at the same time. So in simple terms, because we have some living organisms in the fertilizers, and we have these living organisms, they have to feed on some organics in the soil. So the microbes which are in the soil, we tend to increase them with biofertilizers.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and if you're to differentiate, for example, the biochemicals from the biochemical fertilizers, because when we hear something to do with chemicals, we believe there is a lot of chemical use, or we believe there is a lot of different things that come together to make this fertilizer. Now, for example, some of us are used to the local fertilizers. I did tell you this off air, apparently, that some of us are used to the local manure, or you just get maybe any other fecal matter and you throw into the garden to see that the soil gets or gains fertility. How do you differentiate between these two?
Apparently, when we are doing the organic fertilizers,
okay,
there is a lot to be considered.
All right.
There is heavy metals, there are germs and bacteria.
Okay.
There are some which are toxic to the plant, some toxic to human beings. So we consider all these.
Okay.
For example, we are used to with chicken droppings, we are used to cow dung,
yes,
even tall grass like coffee husks and everything. We consider them to be organic fertilizers or organic chemicals. But major ones, you hear about the word chemical, you understand something which is dangerous. So why we add the organic, at least for someone to understand it well, that there is nature and there is bio, which is life.
Okay.
So once we talk about life, once we hear about the word bio, you mean that we are talking about life. So when you are at least getting what is required to the plant, we consider majorly the nutrients in the soil and nutrients to the plant. Because these nutrients are the ones we are going to take. You need some minerals, you need some oxygen, you need some water, you need the nature, such that you can be friendly to the nature.
Okay.
So when we are doing the things, they have to be friendly. We call it eco-friendly.
Okay.
Such that you don't harm the nature and the nature can't feed you. So when you are doing the fertilization of organics and so on, we consider much. How is it prolong the life for both you and for environment which is surrounding you?
Okay. And speaking of this particular description that you've done, for example, the types of biochemicals, you've mentioned metals, you have a lot of description in here. Which is the most preferred by most of the farmers out there?
And when we are considering farmers, we consider the first, with the fertilizers,
Okay.
we consider what we call macro elements in the fertilizers.
Okay.
And we also, in nature, mainly in organics, we consider also the micro nutrients in the soil and for the plant.
Okay.
Why we consider the first one is macro, which includes of nitrogen, the phosphorus in it, the potassium in it, and the magnesium. And in particular, we consider also the micronutrients. These micronutrients, they help much with the disease resistance.
Okay.
Once you're using the product or the fertilizer on the crop or the soil, you are giving the crop the energy, at least to survive, to fight for the diseases. At the same time, it is giving you what you require.
Okay.
So we consider the micronutrients and we consider the macronutrients for the plant. So the farmers, they are aware, and they just ask, buy NPK. So they know that. But the concentration in the NPK is the nitrogen, phosphorus, and the potassium. Others, they ask for calcium. Others, they ask for zinc. When the time comes for fruiting, that's when they see that those challenging issues. If at all the product or the fertilizer didn't have those ingredients, you'll see some are getting wilting, some are getting dry underneath, mainly the tomatoes. You see some scars around because the plant lacks calcium. Others, they can ask you for medication or treatment or pesticide or so what, but the plant is lacking some good nutrients for it. So we also try to see how farmers can get into organic farming, which comprises of two, the micro elements and the micro nutrients.
Okay. Now let's get deeper into the business, understanding the business of agrochemical fertilizers. How is the business moving? Do we have Ugandans going in out there to buy them? Because sometimes we may talk about the business being available, but when we have less clients about it, how is the business moving?
Business is as usual.
Okay.
However, there is a campaign we have started, at least to entice everybody who is engaging into farming, that you have to start doing what we call commercial farming. Okay. When we are into commercial farming, we consider much the cost for production and the profitability. Why are we moving too much into this? It's because the farmers, they have been only growing things for their own sake. They doesn't consider the market. They also eat contaminated foods, a lot of chemical residues in it. So why we are focusing on them is because for us, we are in towns. We don't consider much to be in the field.
Okay.
And we leave the farmers, our peasant farmers, as you, the politician portrays it, is that they do everything on their consumption. So you find someone has got 2 or 3 acres, but growing things for his own consumption. To tell a person to start doing agriculture for business, you need to invest, one, into the mind that who is going to take my crops after when I've harvested them? What does the market need? Where will I get the fertilizer? Where will I get the chemicals for spraying? All these, where will I get the seeds? Where is the labor? So in putting into consideration of this, we advise the farmers, you have to invest into fertilizer usage if you are to get profitable farming. At the end of it all, you start doing good working, good relationship with the soil, good relationship with the crop, good relationship with the customers who are going to take the produces. At the end of the day, we consider the business because it is a win-win situation. The crop doesn't need only the fertilizers, it needs water, it needs sunshine, it needs other even technicalities. You need to weed, those agronomic practices we do. So we consider very many things. So if you are to enter into business of farming and you are going to enter into organic farming, That's major, the new program which is running. We have to give you at least some wise advice.
Okay.
Yes.
And then looking at the competition in the business, how is it? How many do you believe it is competitive now, or there's still much room for people to come into the business?
Agriculture is endowed with many opportunities.
True.
From the farm to the harvest, to the transportation, to the processing. And when it comes to processing, for us, we are intending to have good produces. For example, those who are doing coffee, there is what we call grading of coffee. But grading of coffee, we consider much the premium quality. That's the language they use. But we don't grade the premium quality and the second and the third. We consider the nutrient content scientifically. Oh. The nutrient content which is in the coffee, we first intake the green bean, then we test it, how much does it weigh with the potassium in it, the phosphorus in it, the calcium in it, the nitrogen in it, all those, that's what we consider. And then that's when it is classified as a good premium product.
Okay.
So if at all we are enticing everybody, in fact, to enter into this venture, it's still profitable. And for this character, at least you have all these gadgets. You can Google and see where the market is. Okay. For the youth, mainly for the youth, because the youth doesn't have a lot of land, but they can engage into marketing and the processing. If you at all you are giving a trust and you request your father or mother that produce these pumpkins for me, I will take them all for the market, and then I will produce and process and having the powder from out of it. The first person to trust you will be your mother. My son is at least enlightened, has got some knowledge of how to process this these pineapples, pumpkins, and so on.
Yes.
At the end of it all, you'll guide the father or the person who is doing that for you, so that he or she brings a quality product. So the quality of the product doesn't start from the processing. It starts from the processing farm. If you give out or you give us a fake, we may not call it fake, substandard crop, like pineapples, you cannot get the quality of the juice they need. So we consider much more people, if at all they want to invest and venture into this campaign of agro-processing, the room is open and it's still profitable if at all anyone is interested in it.
Okay. All right. And now let's also focus on something to do with, let's have some differentiation here. When you look at the fact that we have biochemical fertilizers, what other side of the biochemicals haven't we mentioned about here that is also profitable in terms of business?
At the moment, we are considering much the fertilizers. Okay. Why? We are still very low.
Okay.
For example, if at all I give you an example of companies which are producing water.
Okay.
I may not mention one or two, but you have never seen any expired water being powered anywhere.
No,
but we are having like 100 plus
of
companies,
yes.
or those companies which are doing what? Producing water or processing water for our personal use. So with the fertilizer usage, the last report of the last year, the Minister of Agriculture gave us a report, fertilizer usage in Uganda, and this one was general, either chemical or organics. They combined together, and they considered on average use, the farmer who does not use completely, and the other big people like the Meta, those who are growing majani and so on, the tea, those who are using huge fertilizers. They considered us to be, Uganda is 2 kilograms per hectare per year. If you are, our target, where should you have been, is 30 at least if we are to count, because the land does not expand, but the population is increasing. So whenever you are growing anything on the soil, we request you to at least to fertilize that land, small land. Even if it's very small, it can be productive. We are considered to be at least, each farmer who is growing anything would have been at 50 kilograms per hectare per year.
Okay.
To reach to this extent, from it was 0.31 kg.
That is from a range of which year? Last year to this year?
It was 2008. That's when we started receiving this information.
Okay.
But from 2008 to 2020, we have moved like 17 years.
Okay.
Or 15 or 2. We have only moved it to 2 kilograms.
14 years.
Exactly. Cut 2 kilograms. And the government have endowed, it has put a lot of effort, it has put some good programs which I'm hearing, the SDP programs and so on. They have injected, the World Bank have helped us to see how fertilizer usage can be done in Uganda.
Okay.
But we are still very low. So
where is the challenge? Where do you believe the challenge is? Is it with the farmers themselves who do not want to go in for these fertilizers, or they feel comfortable with the levels they are at?
By the perception we have, very few. Uganda at the moment, we have got some good reports that Uganda, the youth, which are under, and I think 30. Okay. We are like 60%.
Who are in the agricultural sector, or just the youth?
The youth. Okay. If at all the country is having 60%
of the
younger people, they have not been aware. We have been at school. We didn't know even that there is this need. And the government has not done a lot because the perception of agriculture, I saw it during the COVID. That's when the people understood that agriculture, it is among the essential services. You have to be doing good farming every time. Even though there is COVID, you have to be.
Security is important.
So we neglected somehow.
Yes.
We may not shift the blame to anyone. But after COVID, even outside the countries, the international countries, they started requesting for good quality producers. And Uganda is endowed with everything. Recently, I heard the president mentioning, he made a tough statement. I don't know whether it will work, but even if the president mentioned it like that way, that let us eliminate and ban the chemical fertilizers and so on, and we embrace the organic fertilizers, but there is still the awareness campaign is not well done. The farmers are not aware. Even they say, my soil is still fertile. I may not need to put some fertilizers. But we require farmers, and we inform them, please, wherever you are going to cultivate, add in more fertilizers, add in fertility to the soil. The soil is sick. It's not yet dead, but it's sick and it's lacking a lot. That's why you're having a lot of challenging issues of wilt, because it is too acidic. So whenever you are putting in a lot of organic fertilizers, we are pulling a lot more, we are bringing more life to the soil, such that we can produce what is required. So if at all there are youth involved into this campaign, the women, we bring them on board. We encourage farmers to do more growing, do more fertility, do more what. They'll end up into this campaign of having us the market and even creating more jobs for them in the processing, in the cultivation, in the weeding, in the transportation, and everything. If at all we embrace agriculture alone, it can even host half of the people fully paid. But we may not think it is of great use at the moment. So if at all the viewers are watching us and they want to venture into agriculture, we call upon through the smart TV viewers such that they can embrace this campaign of organic farming, because the organic market is ready.
All right. Let's also speak of some of the challenges that you're facing in the market and also in the business of organic. For example, the organic fertilizers, dealers in the biochemical fertilizers, for example. What are some of those challenges that are yet to be addressed?
Majorly, the first challenge is that these things are said in tough words.
Okay.
The biochemicals, the what? One day I heard someone was talking about nuclear fertilizers. A moment we're hearing the word nuclear,
it is
the one is already off.
Yes, true.
So meaning that if at all what we are trying to see, we translate these terms into our normal local languages so that the person can understand them well. One of the challenging issues is that these things the farmers are understanding the things in their local languages, and we are trying to translate. So that's one of the challenging issues.
Okay.
How the farmers can interpret any word they find across. Secondly, the fertilizer usage policy. It's good that it is there in the present, but it's not in use. Not every farmer is aware that there is a need for fertilization, or mainly for soil and for the plant. Thirdly, the awareness campaign, it's not well convinced to everybody. So we are calling upon the Ministry of Agriculture and the other stakeholders, the cultural leaders and so on, at least to embrace the campaign of organic farming. Because once everybody is aware, it's like the way you sensitize about COVID, everybody knew how it is contagious, how you can prevent it, eat this, eat that, you strengthen the immunity. That's the same way we should have been training farmers about organic, the need for healthy foods. We're having a lot of challenging issues of cancers, and once the cancer affects you, for me, I'm a victim of 2 people from my house. That's why my grandpa and my elder father, they dead because of cancer issues. So
that's sad.
I said everything I'm going to do, I have to consider healthy foods, not only for my own consumption, not only for my family, but for the entire country. Why? Because I saw how painful it is to have a cancer person in your house. Everything, you can't do anything. You just only consider on that person. So while we are doing this, the bigger challenge they have been having is that they don't know which are cancer-causing chemicals. People are using other chemicals which are even banned.
Okay.
They are banned on the market. Like the paraquat. Someone doesn't know that paraquat is no longer in use. It is banned in the whole country. It's banned in the markets. But you find some farmers, they're having it and they're using it and say, if I told this person doesn't know even these challenging issues, how will he or she be aware of the organic farming and organic markets? So we are considering these as our bigger challenging issues. Mainly there is land fragmentation. The youth have not got the opportunity to get fully involved into farming, mainly for commercial farming. So they are still bad challenging issues. If I know my father has got land, but he doesn't want to share with me. Why? Once he shares with you, the following day you'll find I've sold it. So that mentality of selling everything, we want to encourage youth to get on board into farming so they can get the real market into processing and everything.
All right. Then lastly, let's look at the National Organic Agriculture Policy that you follow from the side of the organics. How important has it been to the business community in that sector of yours?
It is good, and I am embracing the Ministry of Agriculture for that. At least there is a big hand for myself It has taken us almost the whole of, since Uganda, we are going to celebrate 60 years of independence.
Yes, in a week's time.
In a week's time, but Uganda has, before, it had never been having the policy for organic. Since Uganda got the independence, not until I think this is 2019. We have been striving to see, because you cannot regulate anything without a law.
True.
You are seeing these people who Kampala, the border people, and the Lukwaga and so on. They are on loggerheads for each other because they don't have the law that can regulate.
Yes.
Even though we're having accidents, but you have to put a law still. That can guide you to see who is doing wrong, who is doing right. So I'm embracing this campaign, and I think, let me thank him when he's still alive, the Commissioner Wakuba.
Okay.
He has done a very good job, a recommendable job, to see to it that this policy is out now. Okay. We are endowed that it can guide everybody, the manufacturers, it can guide the importers, it can guide those who are doing adulterations, those who are doing the faking, those who are doing the fertilizer usage, all of that, it is guiding. And mainly, I'm calling upon the private sector to venture into this business of organic business and organic fertilizer.
Okay.
As we are encouraging farmers to do the same, but there is still a room for investing.
Okay.
Those who are interested into investing into organic farming, organic agriculture, organic processing, and organic markets. For me, I'm interested into hearts of avocado growing.
Okay.
We just put our organic fertilizer on them. You don't even need it to spray.
Oh.
Because the product has got everything the crop needs. At the same time, it has got everything the soil it needs. Okay. So at the end of the day, you are eating a very healthy food.
All right, now your final remarks as we're winding up with our discussion this morning.
My final remarks, I'm calling upon every farmer. And I thank much the Smart TV.
Okay. At
least you have I don't know, this campaign, you have started it with vigor. This time I'm hearing youth, they are saying, you have got the vibe. So Smart TV, you have got the vibe for us who are doing the farming as a business. We are calling everybody who is willing to do the business with us. We have everything from the seeds, the knowledge, the equipment, the fertilizers, and for the market. They can visit us at the Downtown Plaza, that's where I sit. I'm serving from there. It's called Downtown Plaza next to Aga Khan Primary School in Kiseka Market. They can visit us and we give them whatsoever they need.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And many thanks for being part of our discussion this morning. That is Matthias Subga, who's a field consultant in the organics in that space, taking us through all that matters in the organic, on the biochemical or biochemical world and biochemical fertilizers. That is being one of our discussion, of course. And thank you very much for being part of our discussion today. To all of you that are still watching, stay tuned. After the break, we go on ground with Barija Andrew for more updates. Stick around.